The evil creature will soon be out. We need to get home fast. We need to get home fast.
Run inside your houses. It's almost time.
The oldest law in Ibolo village is simple. After sunset, your door does not open. The night my sister Simi disappeared, she called my name 3 times. By the 3rd call, her voice began to twist. And by the 4th, it wasn't human anymore. There are truths the elders bury in silence, stories the missionaries chose not to record, reasons grown men still sleep with machetes beneath their pillows and wrap iron chains around their doors. This is about Oganibo. And before you dismiss it as village folklore, ask yourself this: why would 400 people willingly lock themselves inside their homes every single night for more than 100 years? My name is Dorcas. I'm 22 years old, and I live in Ibolo village, deep in Edo State, where the forest still remembers the old gods and the earth drinks secrets. During the day, our village looks like every other place in rural Nigeria. Children playing football in the dust, women selling akara and plantain at the junction, men arguing about Arsenal versus Manchester United, old women gossiping under the Iroko tree. But when the sun begins to set, everything changes. You'll see it in people's eyes first. The way mothers suddenly grab their children mid-sentence. The way conversations die. The way everyone starts moving faster, glancing at the sky like it might betray them. By 6:30 p.m., the entire village becomes a graveyard. Every door locked, every window sealed, every gap in the walls stuffed with cloth. The rich families have iron doors, thick, heavy things that take 3 men to install. My father, Chief Osas, spent his entire savings on ours. 2 layers of iron with padlocks that clank like prison gates. The poor families, they use whatever they can afford. Wooden doors, reinforced with metal sheets. Chains, 10, 12, 15 padlocks stacked on top of each other like desperate prayers. And then we wait. We wait for the footsteps. You want to know what Oganibo sounds like? Imagine the heaviest boots you've ever heard. Military boots, but slower, deliberate. Like each step is crushing the earth beneath it. Thud, thud, thud. Then the dragging sound. Something metal scraping across the ground. Scrur, scrur. And the breathing. God, the breathing. It's not human breathing. It's too deep, too wet. Like something breathing through lungs, filled with mud and blood and centuries of rage. The first time I heard it, I was 7 years old. I wet myself. My mother held me so tight I couldn't breathe. Her hand clamped over my mouth because even the sound of a child crying could draw its attention. My father whispered in my ear, "Whatever happens, Dorcas, don't make a sound. Don't look through the window.
I know.
Don't answer if you hear your name.
Quiet
But
now.
what if it's you calling me, Papa?" His eyes went dark. Then it's not me anymore. The stories about Oganibo vary depending on who you ask. Some say it's wrapped in thick black smoke that moves like cloth. Others swear it has claws like a wolf, long enough to gut a cow in one swipe. The hunter who tried to fight it before my time described a creature wearing a black garment that seemed to swallow light itself, with a physique twisted and wrong, like a plague given flesh. But nobody truly knows what Oganibo is, because everyone who's seen it clearly is dead. My father told me about Tabor the hunter. This was 12 years ago, before I was born, when people still had hope that Oganibo could be defeated. Tabor was the kind of man who walked into rooms and made them smaller, tall, muscular, chest like a barrel. He'd killed leopards with his bare hands, survived 2 snake bites, once fought off 5 armed robbers with just a machete. So when he stood up during the village meeting and announced he would end this madness, people actually believed him. "I am not like the others," he declared. "I have been blessed by the greatest Babalawo in Benin. My gun has been soaked in holy water, wrapped in incantations, and strengthened with charms powerful enough to bring down an elephant. Oganibo is just another animal, and animals can be killed." The elders looked at him the way you look at a child who thinks he can fly. Elder Obadan, oldest man in the village, spoke slowly. "Tabor, brave men before you have tried. Stronger men, men with bigger charms and stronger juju. All of them are bones now." But Tabori wouldn't listen. That night, armed with his blessed shotgun and wrapped in protective amulets, he stood in the village square, alone, waiting. My father said the entire village was pressed against their windows, against all warnings watching. The moon was full. The air was still. Then they heard it. The footsteps. Thud, thud, thud. Tabor raised his gun. His hands were shaking, my father said. Just slightly, but shaking. The smoke came first. Thick, black, unnatural. Rolling through the square like it had a mind of its own. Then the shape. Even from inside locked homes, people said they could feel the wrongness of it. The way space seemed to bend around Oganibo. The way sound became muffled. The way the temperature dropped so fast. Breath turned to mist.
Welcome to Folktales by Promzy. Please hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Let's continue the story.
Tabor fired. Boom. The gunshot echoed like thunder. Once, twice, 3 times. Then silence. Then Tabori's voice. Help me! Oh God, help me! It's not possible! What are you? What are you? Help! His screaming lasted 7 minutes. 7 minutes. People covered their children's ears. Wives collapsed crying. Men vomited because they could hear everything. The tearing sounds, the wet crunching, Tabori's voice breaking as he begged for death. By morning, they found what was left of him in the center of the square. His bones had been separated from his flesh separated from his organs. Everything arranged in a perfect circle, like a sick message. His eyes still open had been placed on top of the pile. From that day forward, nobody spoke of fighting Oganibo again. We just learned to survive it. 2 years ago, something changed. For the first week, silence. No footsteps, no dragging sounds, no screaming in the distance, nothing. People didn't celebrate. In Ibolo, silence is more terrifying than noise. Silence means Oganibo is planning something. Second week, still nothing. Third week, Chief Omozele was the first to open his door. Just a crack, just to peek. When nothing happened, he stepped outside for 30 seconds, then ran back in, gasping like he'd held his breath underwater. Fourth week, people started moving around outside again, carefully, close to their homes, quick errands, always before full darkness. The elders warned us. Oganibo is testing us, they said. It wants us to forget, to get comfortable. Then it will strike. But days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. My father, Chief Osis, was the most paranoid. He still locked our iron door with all 7 padlocks every night. Still checked the windows 3 times. Still made me and Simi stay inside after 6 p.m. Papa, nothing has happened in months, Simi complained one evening. She was 20, 2 years younger than me, and the most stubborn person I've ever known. The stars are beautiful tonight. Can't we just sit outside for a few minutes? No. But the moon is so bright. The night is so beautiful. Everyone else is. I said no. My father's voice cracked like a whip. His eyes were wild, afraid. What if Oganibo comes back? Simi rolled her eyes. Papa, it's gone. Whatever it was, it's gone. That night, Mama Susie came to visit. She was 89 years old, bent like a question mark, but her mind was sharp as broken glass. Chief Osis, she said quietly, you should let your daughters enjoy their youth. Oganibo has not shown itself in over a year. Perhaps it has finally moved on. My father just stared at the locked door and said nothing. But Simi wouldn't let it go. Every night, she'd press her face against the window, staring at the stars. Dorcas, don't you want to see the sky? Don't you miss being outside at night? I did. God, I did. But I remembered Tabor's screams. I remembered the stories. I remembered the way my father's hands shook when he checked the locks. Simi, just let it go. You're as paranoid as Papa. I'm alive because I'm paranoid. She laughed. Nothing is going to happen. 3 nights later, Simi woke me up at 2 a.m. Dorcas, she whispered, shaking my shoulder. Dorcas, wake up. What? What's wrong? I need to pee. Really badly. I stared at her. So? Use the chamber pot. It's full. Papa hasn't emptied it. We had a latrine outside, about 20 feet from the house. During the day, fine. At night, hold it until morning. I can't. I'm about to burst. Simi, I'm just going to run outside, pee quickly, and come back. 2 minutes. That's all. My blood went cold. Don't you dare. but she was already moving toward the door, feeling for the keys Papa kept hidden. Simi, stop, please. You worry too much. Simi, don't. She found the keys. Click, 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 click. 7 locks opening, one by one. Each sound was a gunshot in my chest. Simi, please, I'm begging you. I'll be right back. She pushed open the iron door. The night air rushed in. Cool, sweet, innocent. Simi stepped outside. For 5 seconds, everything was fine. I could see her silhouette in the moonlight, squatting near the latrine. Then I saw the smoke, thick, black, rolling toward her like a living thing. Simi, Simi, run. She looked up, saw it, froze. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. The smoke swallowed her. Then she screamed, Dorcas, Dorcas, help me. It's got me. It's not human. Oh God, what is Dorcas? Her voice changed, got deeper, slower. Dorcas, Dorcas, cum udside. That wasn't Simi anymore. I slammed the door shut, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped the keys. I locked every lock, tears streaming down my face, my sister's voice still calling my name from outside. My father burst out of his room. What happened? Where is Simi? I couldn't speak. He ran to the door, tried to open it. No! I grabbed him. Papa, she's gone! She's gone! Let go of me! My daughter is out there. That's not her anymore. We held each other on the floor, listening to Simi's voice, or what used to be Simi's voice, calling us from the darkness. By morning, it stopped. By morning, Simi was gone. That night changed everything. Because for the first time in 100 years, Oganibo spoke. Not growls, not animal sounds, words. Its voice was like thunder rolling across the village. Every hut shook. Every person heard. I have been alone too long. I require a wife. We huddled in our homes, terrified. Each family with a daughter must offer one. She must be unmarried. She must be pure. If you refuse, I will erase your lineage from this earth. My father was crying, actually crying. If any family tries to flee, I will destroy this entire village. You have 3 days. Then silence. The next morning, the village square was chaos. Families with daughters were screaming. Families without daughters were quietly relieved, but guilty. Parents were hiding their girls. Some were planning to run. Elder Obadan called an emergency meeting. We cannot run, he said gravely. Oganibo has destroyed 3 neighboring villages who tried. Complete annihilation. Nothing left but ash and bones. Then what do we do? A mother screamed. Sacrifice our daughters? My father stood up, his face hollow. My daughter is already gone, but I will not let others suffer this fate. There must be a way. That's when Mama Susi spoke. Everyone went quiet. When Mama Susi speaks, you listen. I know what Oganibo is, she said, her voice cracking with age, and I know why. It has returned. Mama Susi told us a story that had been passed down from her grandmother, who heard it from hers. 100 years ago, Oganibo was human. His real name was Emeka. He was a blacksmith, poor but honest, strong but gentle. The king's daughter, Princess Amara, fell in love with him. But the king had already arranged her marriage to a wealthy chief from a neighboring kingdom. When he discovered the affair, he was furious. On the night of the full moon, the king had Emeka seized. They took him to the sacred grove where the blacksmiths forged their tools in magical fire that had burned for 500 years, blessed by the first ancestors. The king ordered a special knife to be forged, a knife that could kill not just the body, but the soul. They drove it through Emeka's heart at midnight. Princess Amara, watching from her window, heard his final scream. She ran to the grove and found his body, still warm, the knife still buried in his chest. She pulled it out, then drove it into her own heart. But their story didn't end there. Emeka's rage was so powerful, so absolute, that it tore open the barrier between the living world and the underworld. He clawed his way back as something else, something twisted, something cursed. Oganibo. For 100 years, it searched for Princess Amara's soul, destroying anyone who got in its way. But it could never find her. Her soul had moved on to a place Oganibo couldn't reach. So, it started taking wives instead, collecting them, trying to fill the void. And that knife, Mama Susie said, her eyes fixed on me. The knife forged in magical fire. The knife that killed them both. That knife is the only thing that can end Oganibo forever. Where is it? I asked. Lost. Probably buried somewhere in the forest. Near water, where spirits gather. My mind was racing. Water. Spirits. The stream. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. The next morning, I walked to the stream where women went to bathe and wash clothes. It was about a mile from the village, surrounded by thick forest. The water was clear, brown, peaceful. I waded in slowly, feeling the mud between my toes. Then I saw it, a glint of metal at the bottom, deeper than I could stand. I took a breath and dove. The water closed over my head. Everything went silent. I kicked down, my lungs already burning. My fingers touched something, cold, sharp, ancient. I grabbed it and kicked back to the surface, gasping. In my hand was a knife. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The blade was dark, almost black, covered in symbols I didn't recognize. The handle was pure gold, wrapped in something that looked like dried leather, but felt warm, almost alive. I could feel power radiating from it. This was it. The knife that killed Oganibo when he was human. The knife that could kill him again. I brought it to Mama Susie. The moment she saw it, she started crying. "Child," she whispered, touching the blade with one shaking finger. "Do you know what you found?" "The weapon we need. The weapon you will need." She looked at me. "Only a woman can enter Oganibo's realm. Only a woman can get close enough." My stomach dropped. "You mean, when Oganibo comes tomorrow night to collect the wives, you must be one of them." The elders argued for hours. "We cannot send Dorcas to her death. We have no choice. There must be another way." But there wasn't. Mama Susie explained. "Oganibo takes the wives to the underworld, a place between life and death. Only women can cross that threshold without losing themselves completely. Only a woman who goes willingly. And only this knife can end it." I looked at my father. He looked like he'd aged 20 years in 2 days. "I already lost one daughter," he said quietly. "I won't lose another. Papa, this is the only way to save everyone, to save Simi if she's still, if there's anything left of her. I know it. Dorcas, I have to do this." That night, they trained me. 5 other women volunteered to come with me. Their daughters had been taken in previous years. They wanted revenge. Mama Susie taught me the ritual. When you cross into the underworld, time moves differently. You'll feel confused, weak. Oganibo will be distracted by the new wives. That's when you strike, from behind, aim for the heart, the exact spot where the king stabbed Emeka 100 years ago. She drew a mark on my chest with ash. "Here, don't miss." The next night, we waited. 20 families had daughters. 20 girls stood in the village square, crying, praying, saying goodbye. I was among them. My father held me so tight I couldn't breathe. "Come back," he whispered. "Please, Dorcas, come back." "I will, Papa. I promise." At midnight, the smoke came, thick, black, suffocating. The footsteps followed. Thud, thud, thud. Then Oganibo appeared. I want to tell you what it looked like, but my mind couldn't fully process it. It was like looking at something that existed in too many dimensions at once. The black garment was real, but also smoke. The claws were there, but also shadows. The face. I couldn't look at the face. It moved through the line of girls, examining each one. When it reached me, it stopped. For a moment, I thought it knew, that it could sense the knife hidden in my wrapper, pressed against my spine. But it moved on. Then it spoke. "Come." The smoke wrapped around us. The ground disappeared. We fell. Crossing into the underworld feels like drowning and flying at the same time. Everything became dark, then bright, then dark again. I heard screaming, crying, laughing, all at once. Then solid ground appeared under my feet. We were in a place that looked like a village, but wrong. The huts were upside down. The trees grew downward. The sky was underneath us. And in the center stood Oganibo. In this realm, it looked more human. I could see the face now. Emeka's face, but twisted, broken. Eyes full of centuries of rage and loneliness. Around it stood dozens of women. The wives. Some looked fresh, still crying. Others looked empty. like shells. Their eyes were white, their movements mechanical. I saw Simi. My sister was standing in the front row, her eyes that horrible white, her mouth hanging open. My heart shattered, but I couldn't break. Not yet. Ogonibo moved among the new wives, inspecting them. You will stay here. You will be mine. Forever. Its back was turned. This was it. I reached behind me, feeling for the knife. My fingers wrapped around the golden handle. In one smooth motion, I pulled it free and lunged. The blade sank into Ogonibo's back, exactly where Mama Susi had marked me, exactly where the king had stabbed Emeka 100 years ago. Ogonibo's scream was like the world tearing in half. It spun around, and for a moment, I saw Emeka's face clearly. The confusion, the pain, the betrayal. The knife. Its voice was different now, weaker, human. You used the same knife. It tried to fight back, claws reaching for me. But the other women, the ones I'd come with, rushed forward. They grabbed its arms, its legs, held it down. Now, Dorcas, now! I pulled the knife free and drove it into Ogonibo's chest, into the heart. The exact spot. This time, light exploded from the wound. Not darkness. Light. Ogonibo's scream became something else. Relief? Release? Amara, it whispered. I can see her. I can finally see her. Then it crumbled. Not into ash. Into something like flower petals. Black petals that dissolved in the air. The underworld began to shake. The wide-eyed wives started to collapse, one by one. Then their eyes cleared. They looked around, confused, crying, but human again. Simi looked at me. Dorcas? Her voice was hoarse, like she hadn't used it in years. Where? What? I grabbed her hand. We're going home. The underworld tore apart around us. We ran. The ground cracked. The upside-down trees burst into flames. The sky underneath us turned blood red. Then we were falling again, up, back to the living world. We crashed into the village square, all of us at once. My father was the first to reach me. Dorcas, Simi. He held us both, sobbing like a child. Around us, families were reuniting. Wives who'd been missing for years were back. Changed, traumatized, but alive. The elders stared at the spot where Ogonibo had vanished. Nothing remained. Not even a shadow. Mama Susie walked up to me, her ancient eyes wet with tears. You did it, child. You ended a century of suffering. I looked at the knife in my hand. It was crumbling now. The magic spent. The golden handle turning to dust. By morning, it was gone completely. Ibolo village is different now. At night, people walk freely. Children play outside under the moon. Couples sit on their porches, talking and laughing. The iron doors have been opened. The padlocks melted down and turned into jewelry, farming tools, things that help the living. But some things have changed forever. Simi doesn't talk much anymore. She stares at walls, wakes up screaming, refuses to go near the forest. The other wives are the same. Counselors from the city came, but some wounds are too deep for modern medicine. They say 20 women came back, but the Simi who returned isn't completely the same Simi who was taken. Sometimes I catch her staring at me with an expression I can't read. Sometimes I hear her whispering in her sleep, in a language I don't recognize. Last week, I went back to the stream. The water was clear, peaceful, but as I bent down to wash my face, I saw something at the bottom, a reflection that wasn't mine. It was wearing a black garment. I looked up, nothing there. When I looked back down at the water, my own face stared back. But just for a moment, just a split second, my eyes were white. I tell myself it was just a trick of the light. That I'm paranoid. That Ogonibo is truly dead. But every night, before I sleep, I check my door. Once, twice, 3 times. Because in Ibolo village, we learned a truth that no one outside these borders will believe. Some things don't die. They just wait. And sometimes, when you kill a monster, you carry a piece of it back with you. I killed Ogonibo, but late at night, when the village is silent and the moon is full, I can still hear the footsteps. Thud, thud, thud. And I don't know if they're outside my door or inside my head.